Hello everyone, this is the video for the second part of the portrait line drawing. We're going to do a little bit of shading inside your portrait and then add a gradient, and then you're going to submit. This project, like I told you in class, is only black and white, and then we're going to come back to this portrait and we're going to color it with colors. So just remember, only black and white for now, and then we'll add colors later. Okay, so I just want to remind you that this is a line drawing, so showing you some examples from the past couple of years. You can see the student just did a little bit of shading here on the mouth. She added some really dark areas here in the two eyes, which became the focal point then for this project. And she added a little bit of gray over here, but she didn't do any shading within the skin or anything like that. So just if you're going to do shading, just be very, very subtle and selective where you're doing it, okay? This student here did a little bit of shading in the hair, a little bit in the beard, a little bit in the jacket, and then the gradient in the background. So just a little touches here and there is all you need. And then mine here, I did a little bit in the face, on the cheeks, and then the gradient in the background. So remember, this is a line drawing. We want to keep it, simple. We want to keep the lines strong, and we don't want to overpower them by adding all the shading. Okay? So what you're going to do now, you want to keep, most important thing is keep all of your layers all separated, because when we come to color them, it's going to be more fun if they're separated. So don't merge them down on top of each other, okay? So the first thing I wanted to remind you about is, remember in class I told you if there is one area that you want to make lighter, all you have to do is come to your layer and then bring the opacity down. If you're going to do that, make sure like that looks odd with that hair dark, the outline dark. So if you're going to do that, then you want to also make sure that you do your outline as well. So be careful about, your lines and what happens to them, okay? So I just wanted to bring that back up. I'm going to bring this one back up. And then also, if you have an area that you want to have darker, like the face, let's say I want to do the face darker and I already have 100% here. The only way I can make it darker is by duplicating my layer, and that would be Command J. Okay, and now his face is darker. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to do that. So I already actually made his face darker before in class. So I'm just going to undo that. But if you do need to darken something, that's a good way to darken, okay? So I already did a little bit of coloring, shading in with the lips and with the eyes. And I just want to tell you that if you're going to be doing any shading, just make sure it is very subtle. You don't want it to become such a focal point that it takes away from all your gorgeous line work, okay? So I'm just going to do a little bit more here for you just as an example so you can see how it's done. But what I would recommend doing is coming to your layer that you're going to, like I want to shade on his face here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my selection tool, and you guys know how to make selections now because we just did our last project that way when we were using the selection tools. So you should be pretty good at it now. And I only want the selection on the outside of his face and then his neck. So I'll push it down there. I don't want anything inside. Okay, and I don't want to be coloring right on my face layer, so I'm going to actually make a new layer, and I'm just going to color up here, okay? So I'm going to take my brush. Make sure you have your black and white default color set up by hitting the D key. And then you want to grab, for your coloring, you want to grab a soft round brush. So make sure you have soft round. Okay, any size is up to you. Hit enter to get out of that. And I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger because I want to just make sure it's nice and soft. Sometimes if it's too small, it doesn't do a lot of soft touches. So I'm just doing really, and you can see that I'm actually going outside my marching ants, and that's okay because the selection is there. Okay, I'm just coming in, and that's all I'm going to do actually. So Command D deselects, and that's all I'm doing. Okay, so like I said, just touches here and there. That's it. Don't do too much. I don't want you to color everything in and then we lose all our white, okay? And we lose our black lines. So a couple touches here is all you need. Okay, so after you do all of your touch-ups inside, then we're going to go ahead and add a gradient in the background. So the best thing to do at this point is to just turn everything off and come to your outline layer, okay? And go to your magic wand tool, because it would be the easiest tool for us to use now. So because we have a line separating our sections, we can use a magic wand. So click, when you use a magic wand, look up here. You have these choices up here. So this is if you're just going to select one thing. This is if you're selecting multiple things. So I want you to come over here if you're selecting more than one shape. And I am. I'm going to select this one, that one, and then these down here. So I'm going to just click on my paper. I selected that one. Now I selected that one. Come down here, grab these as well. Okay, so I don't want to color right on my outline layer. So I'm going to put all my layers back on, and I'm actually going to make a new layer up here. So on this top layer is where I'm going to put my gradient, okay? So grab your gradient tool, okay? And you guys know how to change your gradients over here. So I'm not going to show you each one. I'm just going to do maybe 2 different examples. So I'm just going to hold down my shift key and then draw over. Okay, right now that's a little dark. So I'm just going to Command minus, shrink my picture down a little bit. It's too much. So I'm just going to what do I want to do? I want to start here, hold down my shift key, and I'm going to actually go past my paper. So now it's not so black there. So I think that's better. Command minus, Command plus. I think that's good, okay? So I'm telling the viewer that the light source is coming from over here, and that's fine. So Command D, I'm happy with that. Notice I did not come up here and do select modify because I wanted it to come right to my line. So don't do select modify for this like we did our last one. Our last project, we were using select modify, but not for this one. Okay, so I like that. I just want to do one more version for you so that way you have a couple to pick from. So, by the way, when you are coming up here and you want to test out different gradients, I'm going to tell you an easy way to select just your, to make another selection. I'm going to come here to this thumbnail and I'm going to hold down Command and thumbnail at the same time. So Command thumbnail. And now I have my selection in the areas where I want them based off of this one here. So now I'm going to come back up here on this one. Okay, I'm going to turn that one off. And now I'm going to try a radial design. And I'm going to see what happens with the radial design. So that's what that looks like. What if I go past my paper? Looks like that. What if I come up here and then click reverse and then do it again, see what happens? Okay, so now it's the opposite. I have light on the outside, dark on the inside. But I think I liked it better the other way. So I'm just going to come back here and do something like that. Okay, so I like that as well. Command D, and you can see the difference between the two. So if I turn this one on, so if I turn that one off, and turn that one on, okay, both of them look nice. I would say either one is good. Okay, so at this point, this is all you need to do. This is it. This could be the finished project. You hand it in like that. You'll receive all full credit because this has all the requirements met. If you want to do some, try out some cool effects, I'm going to show you some cool effects at this point, okay? So I'm going to come down here to this layer here. And once again, I'm going to come to my thumbnail and do Command thumbnail again. So click thumbnail Command at the same time. Okay, and because I have black and white set up here, all I have to do is I'm going to make a new layer. Okay, and if you want to do some fun things, you can try it out. Come up here to, we're going to try clouds. Come up here to filter, render, and come down to clouds. Okay, and there's some clouds if you like the cloud effect, and then just do Command D. Turns off the dancing ants. Now, if I like the clouds like that, that looks great. If I want to have them interacting with this gradient here, I can just come here and go to multiply, and then I have that look as well. I can try out some other ones, try them all out. So that looks pretty decent. I do like the multiply one, so I think I'm going to keep it like that. And then another way of doing clouds is coming up here to this one. And because I'm already on this one, all I have to do at this point, so in order to do the next set of clouds, you have to be on a layer that already has a selection on it. Okay, so this already has a gradient on this layer. So I'm going to come up here to filter, come down to render, and difference clouds. So now the difference clouds looks like that. So that's also a good look as well. But I can't turn this on and off because it's actually put onto my background. So if I like that, I can keep that, submit that. The clouds, you have a little bit more play with the clouds because it's on its own separate layer. The difference clouds have to actually be put on a layer that already has color on, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think, this one would be acceptable, or just without anything is fine too. So I really would say either one is great. Sometimes I like simple as well. I think sometimes with the line drawing, simple is good too. So that's all you have to do for this project is add a gradient in the background, do a little bit of shading on the inside, and then you're going to submit. Okay. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure you keep all your layers separated, because we will be coming back to this project for the color, to color it when we get into the color unit. Okay. So come over here, File. You want to make sure you've saved it correctly. So make sure you update the new saving. Or actually, do we want to change it? We could probably, why don't we just call it Shaded Portrait Line Drawing? Let's do that. So let's call it Shaded at the beginning. That way, let's put a hyphen in there. That way we can still keep our old one as well. So just put Shaded at the beginning, Portrait Line Drawing, and then space, last name, first name, and then do the same thing. And then we're going to save it like that. Okay. And at this point, you're going to then export it. So File, Export, Quick Export. And then once you have it sent to where you want it to go, to your desktop, let's see, I'm going to go to my desktop, hit save, and then you can submit into Google Classroom. Okay, that is it. So that's all you need to do for the Shaded Portrait Line Drawing. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.